If NASA puts a new blip on their planetary defense radar, it is not just some stray pebble lost in the dark. It is because that visitor deserves VIP attention. That is exactly what happened with 3I Atlas, an interstellar comet that came from outside the solar system and went straight onto the list of objects monitored as potential threats. Officially, it poses no risk to Earth. But if it is just a common comet, why was it chosen for a global planetary defense exercise involving agencies from around the world, with telescopes and radios tracking its every move in real time? 3. The first Atlas carries a rare title. It is an interstellar object, one of those that was not born here in our cosmic backyard. And, like everything that comes from outside, it brings with it an uncomfortable question. Are we looking at an ancestral shard of ice wandering through space, or something that behaves more like technology than a rock? While the official version speaks of a comet coming from a region never before accessed, heavyweights in astrophysics raise the hypothesis of alien technology, citing its strange orbit, its unusual composition, and an anti-tale that defies textbooks. The most curious thing is the context. During the exact period when 3I Atlas is in a critical position, hidden behind the sun, websites linked to NASA's planetary defense stop updating. Reports are delayed, and data disappears from public access under the justification of budget cuts and a government shutdown. A bureaucratic coincidence? Or the perfect opportunity to study a possible cosmic threat away from the public eye? It is at this point between what NASA says, what it does not comment on, and what 3I Atlas is doing in the sky that the true story you are about to see begins. Behind the scenes, this type of event turns into a living laboratory. Agencies worldwide synchronize telescopes, radars, and radios to train their collective gaze. It is a massive global impact simulation, using 3I Atlas as a cosmic guinea pig. In technical terms, that is what NASA'S Planetary Defense is, a network of eyes and brains scattered across the planet, refining the capacity to detect comets and asteroids before they become a real problem. In symbolic terms, it is humanity admitting that it is still fragile beneath this immense sky, and finally trying to act like an adult species in the face of the universe's mysteries. Think about it, a few decades ago, almost no one spoke of planetary defense. Today, any news about an interstellar object like 3I Atlas becomes a search trend, yielding theories about alien contact and even connections to Atlantis and other lost civilizations. Some see only an interstellar comet crossing space. Others see a reminder that perhaps we are not alone and that someone, somewhere, might be observing how we use our orbit, our satellites, and our own cosmic home. It is at this point, between what science affirms and what it cannot yet explain, that the boldest theories about the true nature of 3I Atlas begin to be born. Some scientists look at 3I Atlas and see just an interstellar comet. But in the underground of the internet and ufology circles, the conversation is different. What if this is camouflaged alien technology? The idea does not come out of nowhere. Researchers like Avi Loeb have already argued that certain strange objects, like Oumuamua, could be artificial probes using starlight to maneuver. Now, imagine this same concept applied to 3I Atlas, a comet that is not just passing through, but testing routes, measuring our response, and observing the movement of NASA and planetary defense. For those who view the universe as a great chessboard, this looks less like a coincidence and more like a reconnaissance protocol. The official view of NASA and the European Space Agency is clear. It is a comet coming from a region never before mapped, which would explain the strange behavior and the unusual route. Within the scientific narrative, 3I Atlas would be a rare, but natural, piece of cosmic dynamics. However, even within astronomy, there is that silent discomfort. Why have so many anomalous objects appeared in such a short time? Why do so many of them behave differently from the classic comets we have studied for decades? It is here that the boundary between astrophysics and ufology begins to blur. It is precisely in this fog that the mystery gains strength. Among lay observers, mediums, astral projectors, and enthusiasts of parallel realities, another fascinating hypothesis arises. 3I Atlas could be an alien observation probe, parked at a strategic distance, far enough to escape the detailed gaze of our telescopes, but close enough to monitor our civilization in real time. There are reports of people who, in altered states of consciousness, describe this object as a cosmic camera pointed at Earth, registered in astral projections and symbolic visions. You do not need to believe in all of this to enjoy the reflection. If you had technology millions of years ahead of ours, wouldn't you also hide your probe in the skin of a simple comet? When someone glances quickly at 3I Atlas, they might think, okay, just another weird comet crossing the sky. But when astronomers begin to notice jets of gas pointed *at the sun, instead of moving away from it, the conversation changes levels. It is as if you saw a boat sailing against the current with absurd calm. In ufology, this lights up a warning. Anti-pattern behaviors are typical of intelligent technology trying to blend into the environment. And this is where the old myths of Atlantis and a possible lost civilization with mastery over subtle energies begin to whisper in the back of the observer's mind. The chemical composition of 3I Atlas also does not help to calm the skeptics. It does not behave like the traditional comets that science has been cataloging for decades. It is as if you spent your whole life studying gasoline cars and, suddenly, a silent vehicle, with no visible exhaust, crossed the road at 300 miles per hour, and no one could quite explain the fuel. For those who believe in ancient aliens and advanced civilizations that may have influenced ancient Atlantis, the hypothesis is tempting. What if this comet is powered by a type of technology we have not even dreamed of replicating? The so-called antitail, a jet of particles directed at the sun, is almost a cosmic provocation. Instead of the classic tail fleeing the star, we have a flow that seems to point towards the energy source, as if the object were refueling, braking, or maneuvering based on sunlight. Imagine this as a sailboat that, instead of opening its sails to the wind, points them directly against it and, even so, gains speed. To the curious mind, this can be both a rare phenomenon and a message. You think you know the rules of the game, but you are just getting started. And when something like this appears, it is not strange that certain institutions become a little more silent than usual. When Comet 3I Atlas, this interstellar object from outside the solar system, was temporarily hidden behind the sun, something curious happened. Right then, some communication channels linked to NASA'S planetary defense went outdated for weeks under the justification of a lack of funds and a pause in activities. Officially, the explanation is bureaucratic. Government shutdown, temporary cuts, that old script. But those who follow ufology, ancient aliens, and mysteries of the universe know that when the sky heats up, institutional silence usually increases along with it. Think with me. If you were in control of an agency responsible for avoiding global panic and suddenly an interstellar comet like 3I Atlas started showing unusual behavior, would you open everything up in real time, or would you filter every comma? While the public only sees notes saying the comet is strange, but natural, telescopes continue collecting data, and servers fill up with images and spectra that only selected scientists get to see first. This contrast between what is disclosed and what is kept is precisely the ground where theories about extraterrestrial life and silent monitoring of Earth sprout. For many enthusiasts, it is not that NASA is lying all the time. It is that they speak in laboratory language, while the internet reads in the language of Atlantis, lost civilization, buried secrets, and technology that we do not yet comprehend. The coincidence of technical silence at the height of Comet 3I Atlas's approach becomes, then, a symbol. Perhaps they are not just hiding data, but also testing how we react. And this is where an even bolder hypothesis enters. What if it is not just governments observing us, but also intelligences out there evaluating everything we do in orbit? Now imagine that you are not a human looking up, but a civilization millennia ahead of us, traveling between stars. How would you distinguish a dead planet from a living planet without even needing to land? One of the most intriguing theories suggests exactly this. Advanced civilizations would classify worlds by the use of their orbit quantity of satellites, space debris, stations, radio signals. When they look at Earth, they do not just see clouds and oceans, they see a crown of technology around it, an artificial ring denouncing that someone here is tampering with their own reality. From this perspective, Comet 3I Atlas, as an interstellar object, could be much more than a simple cosmic visitor. Officially, it is an ancient comet formed even before our solar system, which is helping to improve NASA's planetary defense and global monitoring protocols. But for those who think of ancient aliens and camouflaged probes, it makes sense to imagine that something like this could be positioned at a strategic distance, just taking the temperature of our civilization, how many satellites we have, how we use space, what kind of emissions we produce. It is almost as if Earth's orbit were a cosmic report card. Every communication satellite, every space telescope, every mission to Mars is a resume item that says, this species is leaving the cradle. And it is precisely here that the lost civilization of Atlantis returns as a powerful metaphor. Plato spoke of a people who allegedly abused their technology and fell due to arrogance. Today, as we launch constellations of satellites and watch 3I Atlas cross our sky, the question remains in the air. Are we building our cosmic heritage? Or repeating an ancient error that other civilizations have already seen happen many times? If before, themes like Atlantis, ufology, and extraterrestrial life were restricted to niche books and late-night documentaries, today, the game is different. When an interstellar comet like 3I Atlas appears, major outlets enter the scene. Reuters, CNN, European newspapers, popular science magazines, all publishing stories about the mysterious interstellar object, its strange behavior, and the expectations surrounding NASA's images. At first glance, it looks just like science reporting, but looking calmly, you can notice a pattern. The subject is dripped out little by little, almost as if the public were being trained to live with the idea that the universe is much stranger than school taught us. In parallel, reports on the lost civilization of Atlantis continue to appear on history, science, and culture portals, often connecting new geological discoveries, submerged cities, and theories about ancient catastrophes. Even when the texts adopt a skeptical tone, the myth is kept alive, mixing fact, fiction, and philosophy. The result is curious. While the media says it is not alien, it is just a strange comet. It simultaneously maintains, in the collective imagination, the idea of advanced civilizations disappearing abruptly. Exactly, the kind of narrative that prepares the mind to accept paradigm shifts. For those who follow these signs, the feeling is of facing a carefully dosed script. On one side, NASA's planetary defense gains prominence, showing that we are developing real tools to monitor cosmic threats like Comet 3I Atlas. On the other, TV programs, documentaries, and articles about ancient aliens and Atlantis keep the fascination alive regarding the origins and fate of human civilization. In the middle of all this, you, the viewer, are invited to ask the question that science still avoids saying out loud. What if these stories, these objects, and these silences are little by little preparing us for a type of contact that we do not yet know how to name? If you have made it this far, you have already realized that 3I Atlas is not just another comet. It is a rare interstellar object that put NASA's planetary defense into global training mode, divided the scientific community between anomalous comet and possible alien technology, and lit up the radar of those who follow the mysteries of the cosmos. The question now is not only what it is, but what it reveals about us, how we react when something from outside the solar system enters our field of vision and begins to challenge what we believed we understood about space. The behavioral anomalies of 3I Atlas, the antitail pointed at the sun, the unusual chemical composition, the convenient silence on some NASA channels, and the very theory that advanced civilizations classify planets by orbital use transform this comet into a mirror. It observes our crown of satellites, our space junk, our haste to colonize the sky, and at the same time forces us to face the uncomfortable question: are we really ready to be seen as a technological civilization in the eyes of other intelligences? So, I want to provoke a thought before you leave this video. What stood out to you the most in this story of 3I Atlas? Was it the coldness of NASA's data, the alien probe hypotheses, the planetary defense exercise, or the feeling that someone might be measuring our maturity from out there? Write in the comments which theory makes the most sense to you and what you would do if you were certain that we are being watched right now. If this deep dive into 3I Atlas made you look at the sky differently, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and leave a like. This shows the platform that you want more deep investigations like this one. And when you finish here, I invite you to watch the next video where we continue exploring anomalous objects, strange signals, and everything the surface of the news does not tell you about the universe. The story of 3I Atlas might be just the beginning.